So I just wanted to do a little update since the whole event thing. I'm not going to go on about it too much because I'm trying to build myself back up from that at the moment. It caused an awful lot of stress. But I do want to say thank you for the support that people gave me regarding that. It's been really lovely. The only thing that I will say that's kind of come out of that is that I will be a lot more aware, a lot more choosy, for want of a better word, regards to people that I do mental health projects with in the future. That's something that's come out of that positive, if you will, that I will would have a bigger team if I was to ever try it again, and it would be with people that have kind of like a sole interest in mental health advocates and the like. One thing I will say though is tip to anybody out there: if somebody comes to you telling you how they feel, the fact that their partner's just lost their job, you're struggling massively with your bipolar, moods, anxiety, the way not to respond to that would be to then tell that person in an almost kind of like bragging way about an event of your own that you've just organised single-handedly for however many hundreds of people, with however many hundreds of tickets sold, with however many hundreds of trophies that have been made by hand personally, and that to say that this event would have been a walk in the park to organise single-handedly is an understatement. That would be something not to say to somebody that put in months of effort single-handedly trying to organise an event to genuinely make a difference, for no other reason of wanting my name on posters or the like, just what it was. That's all I'm going to say on that. But yeah, that's one way not to go about a situation, and why ultimately it all came to a close. But let's leave that there before I get carried away with myself. Things have been quite difficult for me recently. I've really struggled with the stress of the event and everything that I was trying to organise, keep on top of my course, my assignments, my partner losing his job. Currently having to make council house applications and things like that as a backup because we don't know where we're going to end up at the moment. It's all very up in the air and stressful. Obviously I have had good things happen, my book that I've signed a contract for the children's book, which I'm really happy about, and I'm really excited about the children's book. But sometimes when you're going through a shitty time, it's hard to see these good things, and it's hard to see why people would be interested in them, and that the whole world just kind of thinks you're a fuck up. Prime example was a tweet I made a couple of nights ago. Was it last night? I don't even remember now. Saying example of social media anxiety, when one person unlikes something to do with your book, suddenly the whole book's a mess, a fuck up, and everyone thinks you're an idiot. What's also interesting about that situation, and this is not the first time this has happened to me, is when I've made a tweet like that or a comment like that, a couple more then disappear. It's quite amusing. I don't know why people would do that. But yeah, I've noticed that. That's not the first time that's happened. It's interesting. You make a comment like that about, likes having an impact on you, or likes being taken away, and suddenly, oh my god, everyone thinks I'm an idiot, and then a couple more people unlike the same thing. It's interesting. But yeah, so I just kind of want to say that a couple of nights ago, I had a complete meltdown actually, and it was the same day, which I also want to touch on, that I'd had a couple of comments from various places that, well, you look well. This is something I struggle with a lot in my day-to-day life. People say you don't look like you've got a mental illness, you don't look like you've got bipolar, you're pretty. you know, you look well. I've struggled with that for many years, and it's something that I just want to touch on again, because actually, do you know what, that day I had a few comments from various places saying, you know, you look well, or you're naturally pretty, you've got a pretty face, or whatever the comments were. I'm not saying they're not nice comments, they are nice comments to receive. That the comments like that are going to boost anybody's confidence, but in relation to a post where somebody's saying they're struggling, saying that to somebody, I find is often really unhelpful, because it's almost like, well, you look all right, well, you know, you're pretty, you know, not that I think I am, but those kind of comments, when they're in relation to somebody saying that they feel crap, is quite unhelpful. And I just ask that maybe people rethink saying that in that way to somebody off the back of them saying they're feeling unwell. Because that same night, with my same face, with that same makeup on my face, with the same clothes that I was wearing, whatever that judgment that day was made on, I had a complete and utter meltdown, full on panic attack, sat on the floor, on the lap of my poor partner, like a 5-year-old child, sobbing, like that kind of sobbing where it's loud and everything just comes out. And I was in a state. I was trying to do some Etsy orders, like my little cards of positivity. I've got quite a few orders of those at the moment, so I kind of cut them all up into strips first. And I had them all laid out on the desk, and he moved them. That was it. Game over. My brain couldn't cope with the fact that he'd moved my strips of cards. So, you know, and I completely melted. I do think it was needed, and I want to say to anybody, it's okay to have a complete clusterfuck of a meltdown. It's okay. Sometimes it's needed. Sometimes everything that's kind of like been bottled up in here, and that's coming out as daily anxiety, and like for me at the moment it's still going on a bit, like just daily kind of feeling shaky and on edge. If we keep that in too much, at some point that shit is going to explode. And for me that was that night. But it was that night I'd been told, well, you look well, or, you know, you're this, you're that, whatever. Makes no difference. I melted, and in my own brain I was like, oh my god. Like my partner was on about ringing the local mental health services. Even I was thinking I needed the local mental health services, because I just melted. But actually that meltdown was needed, and I'm still not 100%. I still feel very full of anxiety. I'm waking up with anxiety, I'm going through the day with anxiety, and I'm going to bed with anxiety. But I'm kind of feeling marginally better after having a complete meltdown. So sometimes completely losing your shit is a positive thing. It might not feel like it, but sometimes it is. If it's a lot of stuff that's built up in here, sometimes losing your crap is what's needed. So don't think that, you know, it's weak or, you know, wrong or whatever to just completely melt sometimes, because sometimes that's what needs to happen for us to build back up. And I'm not giving up. You know, the event may have been cancelled, but I completely plan, when I'm feeling better, to go back to my little projects in my heart to think about. Sorry, it's my dog. There they go. How I can implement those in different areas, in different ways, and think of new ways I can do things. So I've not given up. I'm just taking a little bit of a step back at the moment. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on those things and say thank you, and also to just say melting doesn't mean that you failed. Sometimes melting and completely losing your shit is a way for you to build yourself back up. So let's keep going, guys.